Hey there. Looking to level up your shopping experience? Let me introduce you to Amazon Live. If you haven't heard, it's a shoppable video experience where influencers and creators showcase the latest must-haves all while you shop in real time. And for those who love some celeb gossip, reality stars like Kyle Richards, Lala Kent, and friend of the pod, Paige DeSorbo. On her new show, In Bed with Paige DeSorbo, Paige invites top-tier guests to cozy up in her fluffy bed where they spill secrets, share nighttime routines, and even whip up midnight snacks. Stream and shop new episodes of her series In Bed with Paige DeSorbo every Tuesday at 7 p.m. ET by going to amazon.com/live/Paige_DeSorbo. Or you can watch Amazon Live's new live TV channel on Freevee or Prime Video under the DIY section and shop along on your phone.
Hey, I'm Ryan Reynolds. At Mint Mobile, we like to do the opposite of what Big Wireless does. They charge you a lot, we charge you a little. So naturally, when they announced they'd be raising their prices due to inflation, we decided to deflate our prices due to not hating you. That's right. We're cutting the price of Mint Unlimited from $30 a month to just $15 a month. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
$45 upfront payment equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Taxes and fees extra. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes. See details.
It took a lifetime to find the person you want to marry. Finding the perfect engagement ring is a lot easier. At BlueNile.com, you can find or design the ring you've always dreamed of with help from Blue Nile's jewelry experts who are on hand 24/7 to answer questions. And the ease and convenience of shopping online. For a limited time, get $50 off your purchase of $500 or more with code LISTEN at BlueNile.com. That's $50 off with code LISTEN at BlueNile.com.
Surviving Sister Wives contains adult content that may not be suitable for Latter-day Saints or sinners. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Surviving Sister Wives, the podcast where a monogamous couple drink heavily while recapping Sister Wives on TLC.
I'm Corey.
And I'm Carly. And this is Season 15, Episode 5, Polygamists in a Pandemic.
And it's not just us today. We have a very special guest on board with us. It's Kara Berry.
Hello, you guys.
Hello.
I'm so excited.
We're so
great to have you
here. So tell us a little bit about your podcast. I know we have a lot of listeners who love you and listen to your pod as well. I know that you cover Sister Wives along with 90 Day in the same recap, which I listen to weekly because 90 Day is one of my personal favorites. Along with the number one hit TV show, Sister Wives.
Of course. I have a podcast called Everyone's Business But Mine, and I talk about pop culture stuff. I do typically Bravo stuff on Monday. Wednesdays I'll go to TLC, and then Fridays I do Married at First Sight. Am I okay? No. I know you guys were all. There's your answer.
I know you cover all things reality TV. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad.
No, and we have to salute you for your service on Married at First Sight this season because we were not able to muster through that here. It coincided with our new season of Sister Wives, so we weren't able to do a weekly recap of it.
Yeah, I'm missing hearing y'all's thoughts on it, but because wow, what a nightmare this has been. What a true nightmare this season has been.
Everybody hates Chris. It's
truly.
That's the new name of the show. It's the new show.
It's an absolute, just a complete shit show. So if you guys are watching that season, definitely check it out. I get headaches every week, every single week.
All right. So we'll go ahead and jump into this episode here, keeping the Sister Wives train a-moving. So this is Season 15, Episode 5, Polygamists in a Pandemic. It only took 5 episodes to get to this point. We're a year into COVID-19 in our own reality experience here, and it only took TLC 5 episodes into the new season. So the TLC description for this episode is as follows. Kody and the wives struggle to adapt to the pandemic as a polygamist family. Robyn is terrified for her children's health, and Janelle tearfully tells Kody to stay away. As he decides where he'll quarantine, Kody teaches the kids how to save toilet paper. And boy, does he ever.
Oh, wow.
That is quite the lesson.
For all of us, really.
Yes. And I didn't expect the conversation to go as long as it did. We really got into the trenches here.
Oof. In every sense of the word. What an absolute error.
But now we have, of course, the coveted Carly episode rewrite of the description here. So let's go ahead and jump in there.
All right. Christine calls tech support. Robyn barricades in her castle. Kody gives the Charmin bears a run for their money. Meri picks the title Dog Grandma.
That's it.
Finally made a decision.
Finally.
Love that.
Her and that dog. I love seeing them together. It's the happiest we've seen Meri in years by far.
I mean, it's the healthiest relationship she's ever going to have, frankly.
I fully support it, too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Unconditional love there. All right, before we jump into the episode, just 2 quick announcements. Just a reminder that the book club starts on March 29th on Patreon. So if you haven't joined us over there yet to study Robyn's #1 New York Times bestseller, Becoming Sister Wives, make sure to do that if you're interested. And we have a new benefit on Patreon. Starting at the $8 tier and up, you will now receive a monthly newsletter called Meri's Gram, in which we analyze one of Meri's social posts.
So this is going to be the Instagram posts. We were watching the Save Britney documentary, and it really wrapped us up. There was the podcast Free Britney.
Yes.
And so that's where we...
Starting a movement. Maybe we need a free Meri.
We got a free Meri.
We'll find out.
A lot of cryptic communication on that Instagram over there. Now she's doing... Have you caught her Friday streams, Friday with Friends? Have you been watching those?
I watch RuPaul's Drag Race, so I only catch the tail ends where they're like always trying to figure out when they're going to talk again next. So I don't know what the dynamic is, but is this like a LuLaRoe woman that she's talking to?
It's a friend, supposedly, a best friend.
Best friend Jen, who she met in Vegas, but now Jen lives in Oregon, I believe.
Yeah, she used to spray her house for pests.
She's a pest control. Yeah, she had a pest control business in Las Vegas.
So it's quite the origin story.
And then, yeah, like you said, it's like the first 15 minutes of the stream is them trying to figure out if they can hear each other, if they can see each other and hear each other. And then the last 10 or 15 minutes, yeah, it's always, are we going to do this again next week? Even though they've established 4 or 5 times now that this is a weekly thing that they're going to be doing. It's a regularly scheduled program now. So
her Instagram is truly fascinating. Like I have a friend group that I'll regularly send selfies of Meri for no reason, just out of the blue during the day. That's what I like to do with my time. So I love her Instagram. I think it's one of the greatest works of art in American history.
Absolutely gorgeous. Yes. So we'll jump in here on the episode, which is not a beautiful work of art because we had to start with some opening title cards, basically apologizing for the shitty audio and video quality of the episode because everybody's going to be self-shooting via cell phone footage. Going to be a lot of Zoom calls. Get used to that.
It's pretty clear that the camera crew just cut out of here and gave them no directions on what they should do moving forward. No tech information at all. Just handed them a camera and we're like, go. You've been doing this since, 2010? Haven't you learned anything?
You should be able to do this, yeah. And then Kody gets to mansplain COVID-19 to us. Maybe you've heard of it.
Yeah, that was interesting.
So jumping onto the family Zoom call here. And I think basically just to kick off the episode, I think it was just about what you'd expect from the Brown family, where Christine's joining in and her camera is vertically, it's like sideways, her image. And then we have a whole back and forth of who's sideways? You're sideways? No, you're sideways.
Didn't take long for an argument to break out over FaceTime.
It really didn't. And I have to say, once we saw Christine shooting vertically, I'm like, wow, I don't know why I expected anything different. Like, of course it would be Christine who didn't get it. And I love her, but let's be real.
And I think mostly it's just Christine finding new quarantine-friendly ways to annoy the shit out of everybody. She's not afraid to touch her camera. She doesn't know how to work the settings. But it's also just to get under everybody's skin, too.
Then we had Robyn sitting in her car, acting like she wasn't in the same home as Kody, which clearly he only spends time at Robyn's house.
Right?
And I was so distracted by her trying to pull loose eyelashes out. Did you notice that? It was like, we're not doing so good right now at the number one rule of COVID in March of 2020. Don't touch your face.
Yeah, I mean, everything about Robyn annoys me, even though she came out of the gate being the first one who was actually trying to educate herself and do the research and do the right thing. It rubbed me the wrong way for some reason. Maybe that's something that I need to talk to someone about.
No, I think that makes absolute sense. She was the most concerned about this because then we get to hear her whole spiel about she has so much concern about her children with pre-existing conditions. Yes, we're talking about King Solomon. He has a respiratory history. So, yeah, we really got to protect this little guy.
Got to lock him up in that castle. Keep him safe.
Got to keep him safe.
Yeah, I think what was most annoying about Robyn was that she clearly had a stance on what she thought was right, but she wouldn't actually express it. She just asked a bunch of questions.
Yeah, it seemed like she does that the whole episode. And yeah, you're right. That's absolutely annoying. She does not put her foot down, really. It's aggravating.
Yeah, but then it's like she would kind of try to overstep the bounds too a little bit in other ways, because it seems like she was kind of hinting at how great it would be. Like, this is the absolute definitive scenario of if they were all in one house, how great would that be? Because this is perfect, because then everybody would be able to quarantine together, and it's great. But like, listing the pros and cons of this, do you think that one house would actually solve the quarantine problem here?
It seems like it would make it significantly worse.
Right. Well, especially, yeah, because it's like Janelle's kids.
Right. Now you're just bringing more risk because you can't control like over a dozen people in one home.
Yeah. Especially when several of them seem to be going rogue, just palling around with their friends all willy-nilly with no regard for anybody else. Garrison.
Right.
Yes. We find out that Garrison and Gabe are not being careful enough because Gabe is in the prime of his social life.
Right, yeah, by Kody's definition. And I think this is an interesting point. It's a lesson we all had to learn at some point during quarantine in our own lives as well, as whose definition of being careful are we going by here? Because obviously for Robyn, that means you don't step foot outside the house, whereas Janelle, it's a little loosey-goosey over at that house. Because if you got to go to work, you got to go hang out with friends, that's okay.
Yeah, this episode was a fun way of everybody telling on everybody else without really trying to. Like, the lines were very clear once we figured out who was doing what. Clearly, Janelle's sons are, well, do we have to say it?
They're out doing what they want to do, or at least Garrison is out working. I mean, that's something you have to do. But what I don't know what Gabe's out doing. How old is he? He's 18. Oh, we were talking about this earlier, that this is a kid who spent his entire summer vacation finishing his senior year of school just to be out of that house a year earlier. And now he is stuck in it.
That's funny to me. I had a question for the both of you guys. When Christine said that she was in North Carolina with the kids, and she was saying that she was having several, like, she kept waking up at night worrying about whether or not she was going to be able to go home. Did you think she was telling the truth? Because I was getting like a kid on Christmas Eve who wakes up because they're so excited about a prospect. Like, I think she's happy to not go to Flagstaff ever again.
This was her moment to escape, never come back.
She's comfortable, having that reason to be like, oh no, my flight got canceled and I'm grounded. I'm stuck here for a month.
Poor thing.
I did think it was unusual that the last episode, Kody told us how traumatized the wives were when they tried to come back from the trip to Utah to go wedding venue shopping. And they had to get on a plane and they just gave up because they were so scared in the airport that they just drove home.
Right.
That then Christine got on an airplane again, went further away from home, and
With
then realized she might be stuck.
Yeah. Choices.
It's a little too late. Yeah. And now you are clearly out of driving range for sure.
Yeah.
In North Carolina.
I think that was, I'm putting that out there.
And then Meri, I guess we didn't talk about Meri's stance yet. She's, for some reason, concerned about social distancing from each other, even though that seems to be something she's been working on for years. So
she's got plenty of practice.
Don't know where that concern came from.
She's really faking it till she makes it. And I love that for everybody. She's really putting in the work this episode, acting like she cares about anybody in this family beside her from herself. Like, I loved it. She was worked hard.
So this is when Kody goes full Captain Kirk with us, where he has his captain's log, Earth date 3/22/2020. He's giving us an update on the quarantining, explaining about how it's been such a challenge, trying to keep the kids safe, trying to keep everybody inside, trying to limit the spread.
Christine has decided that there's no time like the present, so she has invited everyone over for breakfast because we know that she can only have everyone come to her home. So this was a real insult to her queen wife ego, I'm sure, when everyone stands her up. Nobody comes. The only person who actually is there is Kody, which is probably the biggest shock of all of them.
Yeah. Wow. I'm confused about where it is that Christine and Kody are in their relationship, because she's been talking about how he's basically an absent father even when he's at the house, but I feel like we've seen them together several times.
And this was the first episode that we really got to see Christine and Kody actually spending time together in her house, where Kody wasn't just staring at his phone.
Well, that's because they had house guests.
They did.
Aspen and Mitch were visiting.
That's true.
That makes me think that that's probably why Kody went over there. Took a break from Robyn's to act like he actually spends time at Christine's.
That's an excellent point. You're absolutely right.
So that doesn't work out, the whole breakfast situation. And we have to cut to Meri because she has an emergency going on over here. She has called Mariah and Audrey and found out that things are not looking so hot in Chicago. Other big cities have been hit hard by COVID cases already, and it's only a matter of time before it gets there. So she's going into full-on panic mode.
Wow. What a choice she made. I have not seen her this hot under the collar since that selfie of her with a banana in her mouth.
Banana Gate.
Oh,
Never
no.
forget. Yeah, she was so quick to volunteer to go out and help them move to get them out of their apartment. And she didn't put much thought behind it. I was really shocked, actually, when she said, "Let me talk to your dad about it. We got to have a little chat, make sure we're on the same page," because she doesn't seem to do that too often.
Very strange. And I feel like, when did Mariah start liking Meri again? When did that happen?
When TLC was willing to pay her to be involved in the show, I think. I think that had a big part.
Touche.
When she hired Audrey to do her social media and marketing content for the B&B.
Right.
That would help.
It hurt. It doesn't hurt.
But I did like when Meri was getting all fired up and she kept referring to it as her girls. Her girls are in danger and she needs to get them out. So that's just her instinct mode that was taking over. So I thought that was cute, though, how she kept referring to them as her girls.
It was very sweet. You're a better man than I am.
But now we got the real talk.
Oh, we couldn't avoid it, could we?
No. So this is a big deal here. We got the toilet paper talk. We're rationing TP. Every household had to go through this last year. So this is where Kody is mostly just upset that he had to plunge a metric ton of toilet paper out of Christine's toilet earlier today. So now we need to talk about this situation. Little quarantine refresher course here.
Wow. I feel like it's important to note the cinematography that was happening because Kody was sitting in that chair next to a cat condo that was next to a picture of Jesus.
Yes.
I just like the idea of Jesus looking down upon him.
Right.
Wrapping toilet paper around his hand and explaining the proper amount of squares that we should be using and how and which direction we should be folding the paper. Oh my goodness. I'm getting queasy just thinking about it.
The most tragic thing was that we are talking about how there's a shortage of toilet paper, so we need to conserve it. But then he proceeds to waste the good toilet paper by twisting it all around his dirty ass hands, folding it.
Gwen calls him out
throwing it on the floor.
Yeah.
I know, precious resources.
Gwen's like, you're wasting that right now. That's what is being wasted.
I mean, where are we if Kody's not, shooting himself in the foot to make a point that nobody really cares about,
It's his favorite thing to do. He was very excited to get up in front of everyone and give another presentation in that room.
Have you guys talked amongst yourselves about who you think the culprit was?
Ooh. Well, we did have visitors.
We
right?
did have visitors.
So that's always suspicious. But Christine mentioned that she has to plunge all the time.
My first guess was Truly, but then Aspen's husband was sitting pretty low in that couch, and he looked pretty guilty to me.
Those would be my two suspects.
Well, I thought, from Truly's line of questioning that arises, there might be some guilt there. What if, hypothetically speaking, in a circumstance where there may be some more toilet paper that is necessary, what if?
Not saying it just happened.
Not saying it
but
happened.
What if it did?
But maybe half a roll, you might need it. Maybe.
I like that he draws the line at, we don't use one square. That's too miserly. We're not going to live our lives like that. We're on TV. So you're going to use 4 squares.
Or 5 if you're feeling, like it's necessary.
Realistically, 5 is acceptable. Right. We'll allow it. As long as you double fold, you got to fold it twice.
Oh my God.
So this raises a very interesting circumstance too, because now we know Kody's a folder. He folds his teepee. He's not a crumpler.
Not a crumpler.
We did do a poll on this on Twitter to see crumplers versus folders. Where do people net out? And it seems to be a 60-40 split.
Crumplers.
Really?
The crumplers have it.
Okay.
That's where I'm at. I don't have time to fold. It's a lot of time. A lot of energy. A lot of concentration.
I agree.
There's an urgency, that takes place here.
I love that Robyn said that she was probably guilty of using too much toilet paper. Like, girl, we all know. Yeah.
Yeah, you were saying who's the culprit at Christine's house. It was probably Robyn. She snuck in and flushed half a roll of toilet paper.
When she dropped by the last episode.
Right. Yeah, the pop in. The pop in, poop off.
This is say,
So now we get to the extra graphic content where we start talking about the process of actually wiping.
Oh, yeah.
In which Kody jokes about how he's going to follow up with the talk about the birds and the bees for Truly. Which clearly this little bitch already knows.
She nopes out of there.
She knows. She's like, I already know it's disgusting.
Yeah, I don't think Kody can provide her any more information than I think she knows more about sex than Kody does at this point. In terms of like the actual functionality of it and like human reproduction. I feel like Truly's more on par.
Yeah. Christine's tip about the lotion.
Okay.
Wow.
We had to do some research.
I did Google it because I thought that sounds...
I've honestly never heard that before.
Sounds like something I would not think to do.
No.
It is on the internet. Now, whether or not you want to take that as the okay that you should actually do it, that's up to you. But there is a recommendation to do this, and she could have heard it somewhere.
Okay. I have to admit that like I fully went into some sort of like other dimension when they were talking about this because I can't stand it. But like, did you say that that trick rather was a Brazilian thing, or did I hear differently?
She did. She said that it was from Brazil. Whether or not that's true, I don't know. We need a fact check on that.
Yeah.
See, and with the lotion, I feel like it defeats the purpose, right? You're applying lotion into the equation now, where I don't think that's gonna help with this.
Okay, that's
I
too
don't
much.
know. Yeah, we didn't go full Grandpa Bill method yet with cleaning under the fingernails or anything, but
God thinks of things like that. That's sick. That's a sick man.
They should have put a warning on this episode before we got to this segment. Ugh. I love that you just hear Gwen make barfing noises in the background.
just gagging. Ominous
The only
gagging.
one that makes any sense. I mean, she's right to do it. Oh my God.
Yeah, so Kody's got to embarrass Meri by telling us about the Grandpa Bill method, which is her dad. And we hear a little bit more about how you actually use one sheet of toilet paper. It's not pretty. It's not really that funny. But Meri does have to clarify that it is a joke, just so we all know that nobody in her household actually did this.
That was why she was late on the pickup to go to the Darkers, was because she was wiping with one square. She was still cleaning out her fingernails.
Scraping under those fingernails.
The flat tires be damned. We got to clean out our fingernails.
Is that what white culture is? Like, you guys educate me. Is this what you guys talk about when we're not around?
I think that this is particular to the Brown family.
Okay.
Yeah, I can't claim this one.
So it's the next day, and Kody is heading over to Meri's house. It looks like he's been living out of his car. I'm not really sure what's going on there. It was starting to get to Leah on Teen Mom levels of concern.
The parallels. You're spot on.
And I like that he says to the camera, Meri says it's an emergency, but he's not really sure how important that is or not.
Take it with a grain of rice. He hates her so much.
Supposedly, yeah, Meri has an emergency.
He's definitely only going over there because she said it had something to do with Mariah. Otherwise, he would have left her on her own.
Oh, yeah. Ugh. He can't, like, do we think there's going to be a moment where he just explodes on her and says, like, get out. Get out. Do you think that's going to happen?
I don't think that Meri would ever let it come to that.
I don't think Meri's going anywhere.
She's not going anywhere.
It wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
She's in it for the long haul.
She can't make her mind up about anything.
She's in it for the U-Haul.
And I think she contributes a nice amount of money to this family. So there's a benefit there to Kody keeping her around.
Yeah, like as uncomfortable as Kody is with her, he knows that she has inherent value in the family.
Yeah. She's sinking a lot of money into the coffers with those wild prints.
Mm-hmm.
Mismatched prints.
So this is where Kody tells us that there's a divide in the family. That some want to quarantine right away, and some want to spread COVID around to see who's immune. But he won't tell us who is who.
Yes.
So let's do a little speculation.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the biggest issue usually in this family is communication, but now communicability is becoming the real issue. So which wife do you think, because we're leaning toward, I would say that most people would lean towards Janelle. That seemed to be the consensus on Twitter.
As being one who is
As being
less
one
cautious.
who is less cautious. And then obviously, clearly Robyn is very cautious.
Yes. I think Christine's perfectly fine doing her own thing with her own family. And so that only leaves Meri. So I'm giving Meri and Janelle not being very cautious, and Robyn and Christine are.
Okay.
I can't really peg Meri yet. Not really sure where she's at. I'm kind of thinking that maybe Christine is one who isn't so worried at this point, just because of the travel.
That's true.
And then also trying to invite everyone over to breakfast, even though she knows that some of them are concerned and scared at this point already.
That is a very good point. And she brings up the having Kody come over for a couple days at a time.
Yes.
Janelle has to explain that that's not how COVID works.
Right. Right. So yeah, there might just be a learning curve here because again, it's not everybody was diving in and researching this to the extent that Robyn was last March.
Which is a shock, isn't it?
Right?
That Robyn got so in the weeds with research, she read something. She read a lot, sounds like.
She read a lot.
She called some doctors.
I was wondering, like, were you guys surprised at Kody's response towards COVID? Because I thought he would be a little bit more loosey-goosey.
I'm wondering if that changes over time.
I feel like for the initial like quarantine time and actual like lockdown moments and everything like that, he could be respectful. I don't think he's going to have the patience or the ability to see long term on this. So once May rolls around, I'm sure he's back like full force, all about reopening everything.
Well, but again, we have to think about who's his favorite wife. The most cautious wife.
The most cautious wife.
So whether or not he would have this opinion if Robyn wasn't so worried, I don't know.
Yeah. It feels like an influence. I just don't trust that Kody would ever be that reasonable.
He's not seemed reasonable about pretty much anything so far this season.
Yeah.
And then a lot of what he said in this episode made sense.
It was shocking. It felt I didn't know which way was up, you know?
Right. Yeah, it definitely felt weird agreeing with Kody multiple times.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Now, he does put some of what he's learned from Robyn into practice when he has to chat with Meri and Mariah and Audrey about getting them out of Chicago. Because he knows he can't just straight up tell Meri that he doesn't want her to go. He's got to figure out a way to imply that she's not going without actually having the conversation with her, which is what we see him do.
This was fascinating. I really liked seeing this. I like seeing Kody and Meri be some version of a unit and seeing how they interact with one another. And I also just like seeing Kody be a father, specifically to Mariah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's an interesting dynamic.
And the other thing here is that I think is very helpful for Kody and Meri's relationship is whenever they have a common ground. So they have a shared goal, something that they need to work on together.
A common enemy.
A common enemy works too. But yeah, so for these purposes, it's like coronavirus is the enemy and we have to get Mariah and Audrey out of Chicago. So like that's the problem and they're working for a solution. It's not an abstract thing of we need to work on our relationship and improve that, whatever that means. So it is something definitive that they can actually take steps to remedy.
Right.
So Meri wants to basically run through O'Hare like this is Home Alone.
Right.
And come rescue Mariah and Audrey. But Kody's not going to let that happen. So he starts to basically domineer the call and act like Meri doesn't really exist while he throws out some ideas of what they could do instead, which doesn't require waiting for them to either fly out there or for him to drive there with a trailer in a couple of days, which also confusing because haven't these people earned a free U-Haul by now?
Right. Like, where are we in this punch card? Because
right.
you guys should have at least 6 months of free U-Haul access.
Like, don't you have one now? Isn't there one still sitting on Coyote Pass somewhere?
There has to be. Yeah.
No one's bought one yet.
If you look hard enough through the trees, yeah, there's got to be a U-Haul back there somewhere.
The thing that I found most shocking about this conversation was that Mariah and Audrey have a king-size bed in their apartment.
Yeah. Where do they live? Wicker Park? Or where in Chicago were they living?
I think I'm not sure, but I think they live in Andersonville.
Not to be too stereotypical.
Yeah, that
But-
would make sense.
Yeah. It's near Wrigley.
Just based
north
on
of
the
Wrigley.
quality of the inside of the apartment, it looks like it's like somewhere in Wrigley or Andersonville.
Yeah, that seems like their vibe. Yeah, what does Audrey do? She does graphic.
Graphic design.
Okay. I like that for them. Yeah, they seem to be living quite well over there in Chicago, and I want tax returns.
For them too.
I know they had 2 dogs in that apartment, a king-size bed.
Right?
That looked like a nice-ass couch. I was like, what? You don't buy nice furniture when you got to move frequently in a city.
Yeah, but I mean, Kody brought up a good point. Like, if anybody knows how to move, it's everybody in this family.
Right.
So together, we've done this a million times before.
Yeah, she should be a pro by now.
Yeah, I guess she hadn't experienced all of them. But yeah, you can tell how over moving Kody is because he's just tallying up, okay, how much furniture do you actually have in there? We could probably just replace all that. We'll just buy you new stuff when you get out here. So just leave it all there.
Just abandon it.
Just abandon that. Just throw it in the dumpster and then fly here.
He's not wrong.
I can't say it hasn't crossed my mind.
Now, do you think that Meri got upset because she was really positioning herself to kind of be the savior in this situation, and then Kody nixed that?
Right.
Totally. I mean, you could have stopped it. Do you think that Meri got upset? Yes, I do. Yeah, of course. She really wanted to be the only phrase that is coming to mind and is Captain Save-A-Ho. But I think he really thwarted all of her efforts, and you could tell that Meri has a big thing about being involved, helping people, helping her helping other people. There's a lot of tallying going on behind the scenes, and yeah, you could tell this really hurt her heart. Poor thing.
People helping people. She's all about it. So yeah, we land on the fact that Mariah and Audrey can do this move themselves.
Yeah.
Because that was the other thing that was really driving me nuts, was because Meri wanted to fly to Chicago and help them pack, help them move. Kody wanted to drive a trailer, which would take 2 days to drive to Chicago, turn around and come back. And it was like, guys, they're like adults. These are adult people who live in Chicago. I'm sure they've moved on their own before from apartment to apartment. That is just part of city living. And
Yeah.
Something tells me that they're more than capable of renting a vehicle, loading up that truck, and then driving it themselves. And that's exactly what happened, because it was like, yes, they can do it. They can totally do this.
And lest we not forget that the last time we saw Meri moving in a high stress situation, she was crying in her garage, trying to grab knickknacks and screaming at Robyn. So
Yeah, she's not really the first person you want to call when you need some help when you got to move.
Right, in a high pressure situation. Yeah, which is what Janelle was saying too. I'm glad they didn't call me, because I'm the slowest moving decision maker you've ever seen in your life.
Well, except when it comes to deciding that Kody shouldn't come to her house anymore.
Right.
Because that's the next revelation we get in this episode.
loved that.
Yeah, which we kind of talked about a little bit already, just because Garrison works outside of the house. He's doing construction. And then, Gabe's hanging out with his friends, doing whatever he's doing. We see the preview in the next episode that he doesn't seem to be too concerned about his own health or anyone around him.
Those goddamn millennials, I tell you what.
You guys are much better at like noticing what's happening in the decor and what people are wearing. Where did I feel like we saw a lot of Janelle's sun that she put up on the wall. Is she a Red Hot Chili Peppers fan? Has that been there for a while? Did you notice that metallic sun that she has in the corner of her room?
Oh, yes, I was staring at it. Janelle has an affinity for wall art made of iron.
Yeah.
Metallic structures.
Yes. If you've ever seen the horse wall art that she has.
I do remember that. I absolutely do.
As part of the cowboy motif living room set that they had. I think that was when they first moved to Vegas.
She still has it.
Oh, yeah.
She hung it up last season.
It's still sprinkled around here and there. You find little tidbits, remnants of it.
somehow she still does not have the worst decor of anyone in this family.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I have some thoughts about Robyn's place later that I would like to share.
Well, we knew that Kody was in her house in the first Zoom call because he was surrounded by brown curtains. And we know Robyn has a favorite color, and it's brown.
Brown's the brown.
Yeah.
The large chairs, let's never forget those.
I'd like to. I would really like to.
So in this conversation that Kody is having with Janelle, for some reason, all of a sudden, he's trying to downplay the number of cases that there are in Flagstaff. And I just thought it was really strange that he seemed to be fighting to spend time with one of his wives.
Agreed. You would have thought he would have taken that hall pass very quickly. And I was honestly shocked that Janelle got emotional and that she started crying.
Yeah, I think that we really underestimate the relationship that the two of them have together because they both seemed worried about not being able to spend time with each other.
I feel like Janelle's kind of like a safety net for Kody. She's like his mental break that he gets because he can go be with her and have companionship, and she is so low maintenance where he doesn't need to worry about what's going on. She's not presenting all these issues to him. She's just going to work. She comes home and they just hang out. They'll see each other. They might go for a walk. You know, it's like pretty simple setup that they've got going on.
I couldn't agree with you more. They seem to have a very just functional, smoothly running relationship. I don't see them as like sexual with one another, if we can go there.
Right.
But
I don't know. They have a lot of kids.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I mean, now that I saw her shedding a tear, I'm thinking maybe she's missing that old thing, you know?
The rule is they don't kiss, though. They don't kiss.
Yeah.
Pretty woman rules.
Yes.
I did love that she made a point of telling Kody that she is making such a sacrifice here that he is going to owe her big time.
You're going to owe me big time, buddy, man.
She's looking for that tropical vacation.
Tropical.
Yeah, wow, that was very shocking to me. And I also, like I said, Kody was telling right on his sons, and then he caught himself, and I loved that.
Right. He says that their age group doesn't take it seriously. He's getting pissed at them that he can't see Janelle, which was interesting. Really, we're starting to see a lot more. I wish that we had gotten to this footage earlier in the season because it's much better than the content they give us when we have a camera crew and a producer.
Agreed. I totally agree. And he said, like, I know it's not just that Garrison works construction. It's that he and the other one, what's the other one's name?
Gabriel.
Okay. That they're out. And then he's like, actually, I don't know, but it's their age group. He really tried to circle or to walk that back. And I caught it. I caught that, Kody.
Oh, yeah.
Hey there. Looking to level up your shopping experience? Let me introduce you to Amazon Live. If you haven't heard, it's a shoppable video experience where influencers and creators showcase the latest must-haves all while you shop in real time. And for those who love some celeb gossip, reality stars like Kyle Richards, Lala Kent, and friend of the pod, Paige DeSorbo. On her new show, In Bed with Paige DeSorbo, Paige invites top-tier guests to cozy up in her fluffy bed where they spill secrets, share nighttime routines, and even whip up midnight snacks. Stream and shop new episodes of her series In Bed with Paige DeSorbo every Tuesday at 7 p.m. ET by going to amazon.com/live/Paige_DeSorbo. Or you can watch Amazon Live's new live TV channel on Freevee or Prime Video under the DIY section and shop along on your phone.
So then this is the point basically where Kody decides, yes, this is a decision that Janelle has made, but I think we should get the entire family to weigh in on this decision because this is not just for me to deal with. This is not just for Janelle to hand out all willy-nilly. We got to get everybody's opinion in on this. So let's fire up the Zoom.
He is so full of shit. He was like, oh, one wife has an opinion? I got to group all of them together and let them know that that's not happening. He is so
Yeah.
full of shit. He was like terrified that they might have some sort of autonomy.
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting way to kind of almost like shame Janelle for her decision, just publicly humiliate
because
her.
she has to explain why she doesn't feel that her household is safe and presents a risk to everybody else.
So it puts her
better.
Right. Yeah, because it puts her in just such a tough spot, though, because she can't win now in any circumstance here.
Well, it was also a strange suggestion because they don't have a great track record of coming to conclusions as a group. So how is this supposed to be productive or helpful?
We still can't get Christine's image to show up horizontally the way it's supposed to. It's hard. This is hard.
She's 30 seconds away from finding the effects and turning herself into a potato.
The cat. Did you guys see the cat lawyer?
Oh, we can only hope that that's something that we get in a future episode.
Yeah, this was very wild to me. I don't understand why this had to be a group conversation. Janelle didn't seem to understand either. Did you guys see the point in this?
No, not at all.
Yeah, I thought it was just I think it was Kody's last ditch effort to talk her out of it, maybe, to try and get her to change her mind. But I mean, she was even pointing out, she's like, I don't know if it is just she feels kind of powerless in the whole quarantine situation so far and lockdown, and she just wants to feel some sort of control. So it is a decision that she can make that has an outcome, that has an effect. So it might just be, her way of kind of dealing with this situation.
Now, I know one of the things that we've already had some questions posed to us about is what we think about the fact that she doesn't just tell the kids that they need to stop socializing.
Right.
Yeah. I had to think back to what Christine said about having to like advocate for Janelle's kids. And I wonder if they, and by they I mean Janelle and her children, just don't have that type of relationship. Like if she thinks, like if she just kind of lets them do their thing and respects their views in some kind of way, because she's never really had to be an authority over them.
Yep. I think she is not a good disciplinarian. She's never had to be the disciplinarian in the family. And that goes back to kind of early seasons of the show where she talks about the fact that she knows that that's something that she lacks essentially as a parent. And I think we're seeing the outcome of that here. But what really boggles my mind is that Kody keeps harping on the fact that he's the leader of the family and that he wants them to follow him. And like you said earlier, he seems to not be too happy when the wives exercise their own autonomy. Why isn't he stepping up and telling the kids how they should be handling the situation?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Because all he wants to do is bitch about it.
Yeah, bitches his wives when problem.
He's upset that he has to deal with the outcome of it, but he doesn't actually want to step in and try to parent or guide or provide any assistance to Janelle.
Yeah. Well, why start now,
Yeah, right? The kids are grown at this point.
Yeah, you have adult children.
A little late.
So then at this point, we're hopping on the conference call. We're rounding everybody up. We're firing up the Zoom. But I think they were using the Zoom to record their video for the benefit of the show. And then they were all talking on their phone and recording themselves on their phones. So it was like everybody had their phone on speakerphone. Everybody was talking into their phone at the same time. Nobody can hear each other. Nobody understands what's going on. Very effective.
I have not been on a call like that in years. Wow. Wow.
So they need to lay down some summer camp ground rules where you have to pass the baton in order to have permission to speak.
Yeah, some group therapy rules. Whoever has the ball can talk.
So we heard Janelle tell everyone about how she thinks her household's a risk. Then we get Christine giving her suggestion that Kody could just spend a couple days at a house instead of rotating so frequently. And everyone has to explain that's not the way this works. That's why Mariah and Audrey have to quarantine for 2 weeks now that they just came here from Chicago. And this is where Kody gets upset that they're talking about his schedule. He doesn't like that. He doesn't like when they take some control over it. And then he feels like he's being passed around like a rag doll and they're not respecting his body.
This was given, like, he took the playbook from Truly when he was trying to make Truly ride that bike, and she was like, "This is my body. I don't like this," and used it in such a strange way. And nobody took that on. Maybe Robyn did, but everybody else was like, "Shut up, please, shut up."
Yeah, the toilet paper talk. There was definitely a lot of body autonomy lessons from Truly coming back to Kody. He picked up on a lot of that verbiage while he was over at Christine's.
Didn't take long.
No.
This is where I got confused about Robyn, because she claims that it's a shock to even think about Kody not going to Janelle's house.
What?
Right. When has this been a regular occurrence? Every single time we've seen Kody and Robyn show up anywhere so far this season, prior to this episode, it's always Kody and Robyn showing up from Robyn's. Always. Every single time.
Why would she have an emotional stake in him going over to Janelle's house? That's weird.
That was weird. And then also she tries to fight for the fact that they should be able to. What it sounds like is that she wants to form a family quarantine pod.
Right.
Where they can all hang out with each other.
Right.
Which is cool. But then you're trying to fight to have Janelle be part of that. And you just told us earlier in the episode how worried you are. So I don't really understand why she contradicts herself constantly to go with whatever she feels the group or Kody's opinion is.
Yeah. And also, like, why are we acting like you guys hang out ever? Why are we doing this? It was a strange game to play. Like, she probably had not seen Janelle in months prior to that meeting where Janelle was like, "Why are we all married to each other?" So why are we acting like it's so, like, I get it because they can't go to school or whatever, but what happened to Solomon? You know, where's Solomon's RSV now?
Right.
My question.
Not as concerned all of a sudden.
So this is where Robyn realizes she has quarantine in the bag at this point.
Oh,
too.
yeah. The only wife that Kody wants to spend time with, aside from her, has just dropped out of the game.
Yeah, because Kody and Christine are fighting on this conference call in front of everybody. They are verbally abusing each other. So he's not going to want to stay there, no matter how long Aspen comes to visit. So he's not going to stay there. That's not going to justify this in any way. So he's not staying at Christine's. Janelle has just tapped out. Meri has 2 people who are quarantining from out of state. So his only option that he has left, he's got to go to Robyn's.
Did you feel like Robyn's, whatever room she was in, it looked like a porn set?
Yes, another unique chair.
There was a lot of draping, a lot of velvet or velvet-like material. I just had a lot of questions.
A lot of taffeta.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just a lot happening there.
Is there a fireplace? Was she by a fireplace? Or is that just bopping into my head for no reason?
It had fireplace energy.
Okay.
Like you're picking on it. Yeah.
I think that was it. Yeah.
It was either the set of a porn or it was a set of a period drama.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just on the set of Bridgerton. Like, what was happening there?
She has a style, that's for sure. The highlight of this call, though, is Meri. She has clearly muted the call. She's not listening to anyone. She is in heaven petting Mariah and Audrey's dog.
That was the most I've ever related to Meri and the most I ever will. Just like, I'm tapped out and I got my puppy in my lap and you guys just do your thing. Like, I know Kody's not coming over to my house anyway. Mariah and Audrey, regardless. So, you know what? Let me just do what I'm doing.
She was smiling at that dog. It was beautiful.
Tracing its nose with her finger, gently caressing it the whole time here. Nobody can agree. Yeah, meanwhile, it's just chaos, anarchy on the phone. Everybody's trying to pass the baton, deciding what the best course of action is here. It's every house for themselves, every mother for themselves.
Janelle can't handle this anymore. She's like, all right, that's enough. I need to go. So I'm going to end the call. And she tells everyone that she's made her decision. And she feels pretty good about it. And then Kody's got to get the last word in. So he says, the decision's not made.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting.
So this accomplished absolutely nothing.
Typical, right?
Kody didn't get to change Janelle's mind on this one, so he's going to have to try again to convince her to let him come over to her house.
And then they're really big this season on ending the episode with some heartfelt moment from Robyn where she either cries or leaves us with something to really think about. So she says it's heartbreaking that they're doing this instead of thinking about what's best for the group. Which
okay.
I think, so she's not saying it yet, but it seems to me that she's upset that Janelle's kids are not willing to make the sacrifice of stopping going to work and stopping hanging out with friends so that they can have this bonding experience during quarantine.
Sure, Robyn. Okay.
And I think, yeah, it would be so much worse if they were all in one house, because she even tries to throw that out again about how great it would be and how this would be so much better. And it's like, no, you would have to police so many other people and you would be so upset by other people's decisions that this would not work in your favor. This would not be good.
I would like to say that I don't think Robyn cried this whole episode, so thank God for growth.
She came close. There were a few times. Yeah, she fought it off. I think Meri cried more than Robyn this episode.
She definitely did.
That's a landmark.
We'll have to see if now that there's not a cameraman and a producer talking to her on the couch, if she pulls back on the acting a little bit.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's tough to act to an empty room, for sure. That is difficult.
All right. So the next episode, it is going to be the month of April, which is the month of birthdays in the Brown family. We have quite a few kids who are celebrating birthdays this month, but like most things, COVID has interrupted those celebrations. Because Kody and Meri aren't communicating, which we know is the norm, he's surprised to learn that Mariah and Audrey have gone to the B&B to protect Meri's mom.
Wow. Another landmark episode.
I hope we get to see the B&B a little bit because it really hasn't gotten a lot of airtime.
Hey, this is Justine from Two Black Girls, One Rose, and I'm here to tell you about Zola. How weird does it feel to be called someone's fiance? The first time you hear it, you do a double take. From there, it's let's enjoy this moment. Turns into we're planning a fall wedding, and I am right there right now. That's where Zola comes in. From a venue and vendor discovery tool that matches you with your dream team to save the dates, website, and an easy-to-use registry, Zola has everything you need to plan your wedding in one place. Start planning at Zola.com. That's ZOLA.com.
Hey there. Looking to level up your shopping experience? Let me introduce you to Amazon Live. If you haven't heard, it's a shoppable video experience where influencers and creators showcase the latest must-haves all while you shop in real time. And for those who love some celeb gossip, reality stars like Kyle Richards, Lala Kent, and friend of the pod, Paige DeSorbo. On her new show, In Bed with Paige DeSorbo, Paige invites top-tier guests to cozy up in her fluffy bed where they spill secrets, share nighttime routines, and even whip up midnight snacks. Stream and shop new episodes of her series In Bed with Paige DeSorbo every Tuesday at 7 p.m. ET by going to amazon.com/live/Paige_DeSorbo. Or you can watch Amazon Live's new live TV channel on Freevee or Prime Video under the DIY section and shop along on your phone.
Would you guys stay there for a romantic anniversary vacation?
No.
If
No build up.
No, there's too many old things in that house, and
yeah.
it's definitely haunted.
Carly doesn't do antiques.
No.
I'm with you. I'm right there with you, girl.
Yeah, so
There's energy attached to those things. I'm staying away. I don't need anything following me home. We know Meri's bringing negative energy up in there, so there's definitely some poltergeist, something attached to that.
no.
I mean, maybe Meri is her own sage, and all the ghosts were like, "No, I can't hang with this man."
Right,
I'm
right.
out
Yeah, it's the magnet repelling
Yeah.
effect.
Do you want to chat a little bit about what's been going on Married at First Sight or 90 Day Fiance?
Absolutely, whatever you guys want to talk about. I need to know you guys' thoughts on Married at First Sight.
Okay.
I
Okay.
Oh no, I don't have all their names written down, but I know
Okay.
that
I think I
know
remember
that
them
Chris
all.
is terrible.
Yeah.
Chris and Paige, train wreck from the start. He's only getting worse. I really think that he went on the show for clout.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he thinks he's going to be a social media star after this and that he's just going to be an influencer and make money off of that. 100% convinced that that's the only reason this man came on the show.
Yeah. I've never met a person like him before in my life, and I hope not to. He's scary. Paige is worse, though. Paige might actually be worse.
Yeah, she has really deluded herself to the point that it's hard to have any compassion for her anymore.
Oh, no. No. I have, the well is run dry.
Right.
And
I don't know if at this point they are just trying to get their paychecks.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like they don't want to break the contract and have to, because apparently they have a $50,000, if you leave the show, you owe us that amount.
Oh,
Ooh.
fuck no.
So, yeah. So, hard to say. What do you guys think about Vincent, who is mostly very nice, but then he gets these bouts of incredible insecurity that makes it uncomfortable for everyone?
I cannot stand that.
Awful.
It's so irritating that anytime that he feels remotely embarrassed or out of his element, that he just flips out.
Yeah.
I think he has trauma that is still unprocessed. So like if that came from, because as soon as we saw it with the Champagne Vinny, that was such a minuscule thing. So small, so minor. And my immediate thought was like, who berated him when he was a child? Was it a teacher?
Right.
Was it a family member? Who was it that like made him feel belittled in this way where he's still carrying that? Like it's still a very open wound for him that can come up and flare up in this way instantaneously with somebody completely unrelated. He hasn't even known his wife for a month yet, and she's wounded him in this way. And it's like, no, that was already there. It's not something that she did.
Yeah. I'm wondering if his ex might have something to do with it, because he said they broke up because she was not supportive of his career. And something about him like not doing something successfully seems to be a big trigger for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't had more problems so far. I think she's being overly understanding just because it's so early right now.
And again, I just wish that of the experts, I wish they would have someone with a psychological background for some therapy too. Because I mean, Dr. Pepper, kind of.
Meh.
Kind of. She doesn't really do anything.
Also,
though.
where have the experts been this season?
Always.
Where have you been?
Every season, less and less.
Yeah. It feels very hands off. And, you know, it was maybe okay when we had Woody and Imani last season. But if we're like Brianna and Vincent to like hold everybody's relationships together, like, no, thank you. Yeah. I'm curious about your thoughts on Ryan, because I go back and forth on him, and also Haley versus Jacob.
Okay. Haley versus Jacob. First of all, I just started remembering her name because she is so boring that
True.
She is almost devoid of personality. Like, the most interesting thing we learned about her the last episode was that she had an allergic reaction to crab and she was going to eat it again, which also gave me a lot of anxiety watching, just waiting to see what was going to happen to her. But she thinks that Jacob is so bad at holding conversation. I'm like, you're not much better, hun.
Yeah. She really isn't. And it made sense at first when she was initially like turned off by Jacob, but now I'm like, well, what are you bringing to the table either, young lady? Like, your willingness to risk anaphylactic shock to get out of this marriage? Like, okay. What else?
Right. Yeah. And I have to keep reminding myself that they had sex because our cable cut out on that episode. Like the channel dropped. And so we were like, oh, we'll give it a couple minutes. And then we came back and it was like, well, I hope we didn't miss anything too big. Well, apparently we did.
Because they never spoke about it again, or at least she didn't.
No. Yeah. She's pretending like it never happened. And then he's too afraid to mention it because that's the only chance he had. And he feels like he blew it.
Yeah. I wonder if it's ever crossed his mind that like, maybe the sex was bad and that's why she's turned off, because that seems like the reality of the situation.
That the connection was building, it built to that, and now she's withdrawn.
No, I don't think it built at all. I think she thought, I think she had maybe a couple of drinks in Vegas and thought, let's give it a go. Let's see. And it was just as disappointing as everything else with him has been.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if he makes it kind of hard to root for because he has points when he talks about like the fact that everybody was hanging out without him and then they ran. Like, that's really sad. Like, that's really, really sad and pathetic. But then he's so petty with her, which like I personally think is very funny, but I understand why that would be a turnoff for her.
I think he is reading her. He knows. Yeah. It was bullshit the last episode where she went to Paige's apartment.
Yeah.
For like the entire night. And he knew the minute she left what she was doing. And then she acted like that wasn't what was happening. It's like, he might be socially awkward, but he definitely is picking up on what's going on. So you need to be honest at this point, which she is not.
No. She's not. And it feels like her attempts at trying to get back whatever spark they could have had at some point it feels like a lie.
Yeah, I think they're obviously not going to stay together.
Yeah. I would like to free Clara of Ryan because there's something wrong with that man.
Okay, she is so much fun.
Yeah.
Especially the last episode where she tried literally every donut that was on the table.
God bless her.
And then he is just like the worst.
His haircut.
I mean, yeah.
It gets me. And then what else bothers me in addition to the haircut is when you can see all the veins on the side of his head. It freaks me out. It kind of looks like Zangief from Street Fighter. Does that ring any bells?
It does. It does.
I really think that he's trying to present a version of himself on TV that isn't real.
Yeah, I agree. And I almost feel like Haley and Ryan deserve each other. Like, just go be boring together.
Right, yeah. Again, I always feel like, at the decision day time, I feel like the experts present, here are our people that we're pairing together, and then the producers come in and go, all right, we're going to switch this person and that person just to see what happens. And it's like, because there are some people where it's like, oh, they would have been so much better with this other person in the cast, I think.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, man.
They should let them switch like halfway through.
Right.
Do they do that on the Australia version where you can like tag in?
I don't know. If not, they should.
Yeah, I have not watched it, but it sounds like things get a lot more incestuous over there.
Oh.
And there have been some couples who, take a swing on over to their neighbor's house.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's what we need to happen here.
Yeah, I want like Bachelor in Paradise rules.
Right.
It's like a new couple in the week, and it's like, well, you can stick with the guy that you got, or you can upgrade if you want.
Right. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Who else is left?
It's Eric.
Oh,
The two that are always drunk.
The Alkies.
yeah. Virginia.
Our fajita cantina couple.
I want to like hold her in a hot bath and just scrub and scrub and scrub. Scrub every layer of foundation off of her face, every layer of eyeshadow,
Yeah.
all the eyeliner that just melts down her cheeks as the hours go by. Just see what happens,
It's definitely because she's crawling into bed without taking her makeup off because she's had a few too many glasses of wine as she winds down at the end of the night. And then she just reapplies right over it the next day.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, her poor pores, they cannot breathe. Just suffocating under all the weight of that.
Now, they have a really weird relationship situation going on. I don't really know what to call it because they're both overlooking a lot of things about each other that they don't seem to really like.
Is it is it symbiotic? Is that it? Is that a term? Does that
Don't
apply?
get all science
Yeah.
on me.
Does that apply?
But it almost seems like Virginia has more awareness of what's going on through her, haze of natty lights. Like she gets it more than Eric seems to.
I think Eric's a little desperate, and she kept him liquored up enough the first few days that he decided he really liked her.
Yeah, yeah.
And now he's just committed to it.
This is fun.
Yeah. It's bringing home the girl that you met at spring break. And now you're just trying to make it work.
All right. You want to tell us a little bit about where everyone can find your podcast and then also where they can find you on social media?
Yeah, you can listen to my podcast everywhere you listen to podcasts, called Everyone's Business But Mine. And I have to think about what the name of my podcast is every time. You can find me on Instagram at Everyone's Business But Mine. You can find me tweeting really off color and adult like things on my personal Twitter, which is Kara B Tweets. Kara with a K, B Tweets.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Kara, for joining us and going through this recap. Very special toilet paper commemorative quarantine episode here that's gonna live in the history books here for Sister Wives, the series in its entirety. So thank you so much for being a part of this and for joining us on this special journey.
Thank you. I hope I was the fifth square, only there to help.
Thank you for listening. If you want to support us, the best way to do that is by subscribing to the podcast and leaving a review on Apple Podcast.
You can tweet with us about the episode at surviving_pod.
Stay tuned, share with friends. See you next week.
Hey there. Looking to level up your shopping experience? Let me introduce you to Amazon Live. If you haven't heard, it's a shoppable video experience where influencers and creators showcase the latest must-haves all while you shop in real time. And for those who love some celeb gossip, reality stars like Kyle Richards, Lala Kent, and friend of the pod, Paige DeSorbo. On her new show, In Bed with Paige DeSorbo, Paige invites top-tier guests to cozy up in her fluffy bed where they spill secrets, share nighttime routines, and even whip up midnight snacks. Stream and shop new episodes of her series In Bed with Paige DeSorbo every Tuesday at 7 p.m. ET by going to amazon.com/live/Paige_DeSorbo. Or you can watch Amazon Live's new live TV channel on Freevee or Prime Video under the DIY section and shop along on your phone.